My auntie and her pastor husband planned for him to rape me multiple times till I get pregnant for them. Story time. And you think you've heard the craziest shit in the world, another crazy would unlock. My mom passed away when I was 14 years old, and my dad had 2 other wives at that time. After my mom passed, life wasn't easy for me and my siblings. My dad had enough money to feed us, but my stepmoms made life miserable for me and my siblings. They stopped giving us food and only fed us at night when my daddy was around. Sometimes we even go to bed without eating all day. After I finished my WAEC around that year, I tried to reach out to my auntie who stayed in Asaba with her pastor husband. My auntie, on hearing me, was kind enough to take on me and my 2 younger siblings. My auntie was really kind to us, and she treated me and my siblings like her biological children. My husband was being so nice to us as well. At first, I thought he was just being nice, but he was overdoing it. He was always saying too close to us, overplaying with us, until this man started showing his true colors when he took only me for a program he had in Warri. He did not take my auntie, his wife, with him, and his excuse was that I read better than my auntie. And he said he wanted somebody that would be able to help him read the Bible fluently. Me, being a naive 15 years old girl, agreed and I followed him. I believed him. That was a pastor and was my auntie's husband. I followed him. We finished the program. There was an accommodation that the church provided, but my uncle said that we're going to stay in a hotel. I didn't in my wildest dream think that would be the worst day of my life. After we got to the hotel, I went to the bathroom to shower and I dressed up immediately in the bathroom. And I took the duvet from the bed and I laid it on the floor and I slept on the floor. Later in the midnight, I felt hands on my body and I woke up to see my uncle touching me. I asked him what he was doing and he told me to keep quiet and let him sleep with me quietly. I told him no. I started crying and struggling and told me that he knew that all the small boys in the area would have slept with me. So what is the big deal in him sleeping with me? I told him I was a virgin and he should leave me alone or else I was going to tell my auntie, and he said my auntie was never going to believe me. Tied my mouth, tied my hand. He was raping and beating me simultaneously. He did all of this till he was satisfied. Next morning, he threatened that if I told my auntie, he was going to send me and my siblings back to the village and we have no one. When we got back to the house, my auntie saw the bruises on my body. She did not even ask what happened. It was as if she already knew what happened. From that day onwards, this man started molesting me in the same house my auntie was living in. I got tired of all the molestations, so I started to steal money for transport from them. But before then, I told my auntie when the man was not around that her husband actually assaulted me on the program we went to, and she did not believe me. She said her husband could never do something like that, that I was only looking for an excuse to go back to the village. When the man came back, she told him what I told him, and this man beat the hell out of me. That was when I knew that I was in for a lot. Later that night, I dropped on my aunt and her husband having a conversation. I actually went to ease myself and it was middle of the night. That was when I heard. They had been married for so long without a child, so they came up with a plan that he would sleep with me till he got me pregnant. And they would somehow deceive me after the childbirth that the baby died. And they would collect the baby from the hospital. Lucky for me, I did not get pregnant by a husband. I was so shocked that night that I prayed that they would never have a child of their own. That was the moment I started planning on how to steal money for transport fares so I can go back to the village with my younger siblings. I believe that starving and working at the farm would be better than me suffering from molestation and abuse. God so good to me, my auntie gave me her ATM card to withdraw money to cook for the house. That same day, she went to evening fellowship with her husband and her children without me and my siblings. She immediately packed our things and I withdrew 50,000 naira from the account. I even so lucky that the boss was about leaving before we arrived. We went back to Edo State. I told my dad about it and my dad told me that it was a lie. And he said everything was my fault. That was because my uncle had already called him before that time and had lied to him. Some of you don't deserve to be parents. I eventually moved on, tried my best to get into school. I'm currently 22 years old. I just graduated from the Polytechnic and I'm also lucky enough to have a boyfriend who provides for me and established the business for me. My younger siblings are also in the Polytechnic right now and I've been able to provide for them. I'm so happy for you. After all these years, my auntie and her husband still don't have a child. The crazy thing about this is that man has a low sperm count, but your auntie enjoys the Mrs. title over reality.
In this crazy life we live, we all need someone to hold, a friend to light the way when the world starts to unfold. Through all